Welcome back to the shop. Back on the Trans Am. It's motor mount time. All right, bought a set of hooker motor mounts for the LS Swap. I bought the ones when we ordered the motor. We ordered a whole bunch of parts way back when, and I bought these mounts right here. These go on the engine, and it came with bolts for that. That's part number 12613HKR. That's the hooker mount. So I thought I bought the mounts for the frame, subframe too, which are these. These don't come all in one like I'm holding. So basically how it comes is you buy, which is, I don't know why they do this, but you buy this piece separate. And I understand that they make it replaceable, although it's polyurethane. It's pretty hard. Probably not going to break that, but it's possible. So you buy this piece separate. This is the clamshell, which is not riveted together like some of the factory ones. So you buy that separate from those, and then you got to take the factory mounts off, which I've got one off here. These aren't separate. You can't separate these. I mean, I'm sure you could, but I'm not sure how that's held together. You can see there the rubber's deteriorated pretty badly. And if we throw 500 horsepower at that, it's going to break right through that after you romp on it a few times, and that thing's out of there. It ain't going to hold up. Getting to those bolts, well, of course, you know, this one's still on. The top side's easy. Getting to the nuts inside that subframe is not. I'll show you how I do it. There is a trick. A little tool, double edge. I have to double up some swivels. Here it is. I double up these swivels right here. I like these ball joint swivels. It allows you to go around turns. See that? Oh yeah. Can't get it with just one. It won't bend enough. I'll show you on the second one. I've already taken this one off. Had to, you know, figure out what I'm doing to get that one off. And now I've got a. You see these? It's got two bolt holes at the top and one at the bottom. Well, for some reason, they didn't want to make them like that for Molly. These have two bolts at the top. Well, that's the bottom actually. Two holes at the top, two holes at the bottom. The top two are wider than the bottom two. I didn't notice that at first, so it had me scrambling because I had it flipped around when I first set it up on the frame. I had it like that, and the bolt holes didn't even come close to line up, and I was like, what in the hell is going on here? This shit doesn't work. So I hit the computer, scrambling, saying, oh, you know, thinking I ordered the wrong parts. Everything I kept doing kept pointing towards these mounts. I got on Holly's website, that kept pointing me towards these mounts, and I got the right parts. But what you got to do is hold them up to the subframe properly. So the wide, and it did have directions, so if you read them and comprehend what you're reading, which I don't do sometimes, read it or comprehend it. The top two bolt holes that are wider go to the top, and those do line up. So you put the bolts in there, and then you use the bottom for a template, and you just drill them to fit. You drill a new hole in the, or two new holes in the bottom on the subframe, and you make it fit. And then you come up with another bolt. So I don't think it came with any bolts. No, they didn't come with any bolts. And they don't come with any hardware, and you can get these, as you see these little metal tabs, they go a certain way too, but they don't tell you which way. So I got to figure out which way to clamshell it to make the motor mounts work. because those two little tabs fit down onto this. So this goes, they go like that. So it sits in that bad boy like that. But which way does it go? It probably doesn't go like that because the hole doesn't line up. Probably doesn't go, it could go like that if you forced it. I believe it goes like that. I believe she goes like that. Of course, it'll be in that clamshell. So, got a little bit of playing around to do to make sure we put the mounts on right, because I don't want to have to take the nuts back out through the subframe again. And once this is bolted on, it's pretty much what you'd have to do to get it back off, and that's a pain in the butt. So we're going to try to do this right the first time, so I don't have to go back and do it a second time, which again I sometimes have to do. As you can see, we got it all painted up, looking pretty good. I don't know if you caught that last video on this where I painted the firewall and inner fender, shot some on the frame rails where it needed it, in the battery tray and whatnot. We did not paint any of this stuff. We can do that later. We do have Hydro Boost kit came in. Robert brought it up to me yesterday, and I'm going to probably put that on before, I'm definitely going to put that on before I drop the motor in. So I'm going to do the mounts, figure out my mounts, put the Hydro Boost brakes together, and then we're going to lower the motor in. I was hoping I'd be doing this yesterday, but life gets in the way. You work solo, you don't have any help. Just the dumbest stuff holds you up. So we're going to get rocking here and figure these motor mounts out. All right, so we're going to install these mounts like so on both sides and figure out which way we need to flip our polyurethane insert into the clamshell before we bolt it down to the frame. And that's it. Just got to tighten that up and then pop the other one on. And I got to figure out how I'm going to lift this thing, because I don't want to take the intake off. They've got the plates that you can mount into the valley, but I really don't want to take the intake off. I mean, I could. They're not hard to take on and off. I just didn't want to detach anything, so I may do some straps from the exhaust bolts. Just don't want to put any pressure on that, so I'd have to go in front. I haven't figured it out yet. Don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. We got to figure it out soon, because I hope to be lowering this thing in very soon. All right, so what we're going to do, before I put this one on, we're going to go ahead and get this other one off. I'm doing a little more paint work to the subframe, and thought I'd go ahead and show you how I got it out of here. These bolts, the back side of them, you have to go up through this hole. You can get to one of them fairly easy right there, but the upper two are not so easy to get to, especially the one that's the farthest away. So that's where my swivel deal comes in. So how I do it, this is double swivel. You gotta wiggle that bad boy on there. Make sure it's on there good and tight, because if you strip it, you're screwed. 14, I believe it's a 14, yeah, or 9/16. I got a 9/16 socket on it. 14s, 9/16, they're all the same. Throw that up there like that. and I get old Ingersoll ran out. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. How about the wrench goes flying? What do you think? Told you. Oh, nuts. Barely hanging on. You can't even get your hand in there, so I'll take a magnet and fish that thing out of there, because that's how we're gonna do it. All right. Let's see if I can walk it out of there. Just kind of walk the threads out of there. Come on. You know you want to come to daddy. There you go. Although I dropped it. Well, now I got to fish it out of the frame. Where did it go? I didn't even hear it hit. I wish you could get to it from this way. You might be able to. Yep, there it is. Ah, I dropped it again. She's lost for good now. Just kidding. I'll get it out of there. Just gotta find it. I need a flexi magnet. I don't have one. Now, there may be a better way to do it than the way I'm doing it, but I just don't know. So this is the way I'm doing it. Somebody's probably got a better set of tools than I've got, and more skills, and that's fine. Where's that damn thing? Went in from the other side. It rolled. There you go. Rolled all the way down in there. So I'll pick up my wrench and I'll do the other one. Or do the other two actually, and then we'll go ahead and mount the new ones. Alright, out with the old. We'll go back in with some new. So I figured out my mount for the driver's side, the right orientation for the insert. I'm doing this blind. I'm under the car. I should be under the hood. Where's it at? Hell yeah. Alright. So I've been fighting with this motor mount deal, trying to figure out where to position them properly, because the instructions are terrible. And I'm imagining there's several different positions that these engines could have come in depending on what was in it. So there's multiple holes in the frame rail, in the subframe crossmember, whatever you want to call it. So you can see clearly where the original mount was, right? So if you take this plate and it says to put it in the original top bolt holes, that the mount was in, is what the instructions say. That won't line up. No matter how you turn it, no matter how you hold your mouth, those bolt holes don't line up. So, but there are these two top ones that there wasn't a mount mounted to, and they do line up there. And it allows you, if you cock it around, if you line it up there, that third one will line up like that. And basically, let me turn my light on, maybe you can see better. It'll look like that. And you could drill that out if you really wanted a fourth bolt hole, but it's not going to be necessary. The original ones only had 3. So you don't really need it, but you can. You can drill that out and put a fourth bolt in it if your heart so desires. It's not necessary though, I don't think, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, it is not necessary to drill the fourth hole. But, you know, hell, you can even weld them if you wanted. You could weld them up. Weld that thing on there if you want to. Have fun changing it later. But and also, I had the mounts, I had the rubbers in backwards, I do believe. This tab should be on the upside on the lower position. I had them backwards. And I've got the mounts on the block backwards, and I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so I've got them both. They're just sitting there. They're not bolted down. I haven't gone through the pleasure of getting the nuts on the backside yet, which these mounts are higher now, so the bolts are going to be even harder to get to, or the nuts on the backside of the bolts. Now, you do have an access hole on this side that I wasn't paying attention to, because I did this one first, and that one does not have an access hole, so I was using that double swivel socket deal on it. That is how I took this one off as well. I will probably go back in with a box end wrench to get the nuts on this side, but you won't be able to do it on this side unless you drill a hole in the frame, or cross member, subframe, whatever you want to call it. So we'll figure out. I might use a magnet, get the nut up in there, and then spin the bolt on the mount on the top side to get the nut started, and see how that works out for me. If you had the control arms off, so if you're doing any kind of suspension work, like while you're doing this engine swap, if you're doing, you know, control arm upgrade, or if you're just rebuilding these control arms and you've got the control arms off, the lowers, I think, would be the ones you really need off, and the coil springs out, you can get to them really easily. So if you're doing that, if you're rebuilding the whole car or whatever, if you're doing a restoration or a big swap and you're upgrading the suspension in the front, go ahead and do your motor mounts while you got the suspension apart. It'll save you a bunch of headache when putting the frame mounts on, as far as, you know, getting the nuts from the inside. So, and these engine mounts, excuse my junk laying everywhere. Oh, too many projects going on at one time. So these mounts, I've got on backwards, I believe. This one needs to go on the other side. This tab needs to be up, so that when you lower the motor in, this hooks or rests down onto the mount tabs here and here. So we're gonna flip those around and hopefully get it right. There's the instructions for these mounts right here. All they say is the open hole goes to the back of the block. They don't tell you how that there's a and a B side, or a right and a left, or anything like that. So be aware of that if you're doing this engine swap type deal with these Holley mounts. Instructions, Holley, you need to work on those a little bit. Just a tad. All right. RX-7. Watching the qualifying for the World Cup finals. And we got the motor mounts in. Got them bolted down. I was able to use a magnet to get the nuts on the side of the frame, and with my double swivel universal deal, able to get it all tightened up, no problems. And that's the trick, guys. If you're fooling with this and you're able to get it up above you where you can use an extension, in that double ball joint swivel. That's a hot ticket. All right, not too bad once you get it figured out. Got the mounts flipped around on the engine, so all we gotta do is clear a path where I can get the hoist to it and get it wheeled over here. All my junk in the floor. We've got all these boxes are all the computers and harnesses and sensors and whatnot for the engine swap, the flywheel, the headers, starter right there. This is some junk off my El Camino, and the master cylinder and booster off of here. But got the accessories. Got the accessories for the front. Hopefully all the bracketry will work. Got to put the converter back in. Get the flywheel on, flex plate, whatever you want to call it. And we'll get it lowered in, hopefully tomorrow. I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. Come back and see me in the next one. We'll be lowering the motor in this thing. Or probably putting the converter in, all the things I just talked about, and dropping this bad boy in. All right, come back, check me out. Peace. Oh, I just hit 1,000 subs too. Thanks for watching.